Welcome to another edition of Performance TV. Tommy and Kathy are still sifting through the aisles of the PRI show in Indianapolis. They're out to find the next best new products of the new year. Let's see what they have for us next on Performance TV.
Welcome to Performance TV. We're in Indianapolis, Indiana at the PRI show. Performance racing industry means there's parts and pieces for your car everywhere. The halls are full. The aisles are full. There's parts and pieces everywhere. So let's check in with Kathy and see what she's found.
Well, Tommy, just getting started here at the PRI show, and I've already run into a very good old friend, Bob Douglas with Rod End Supply. Bob, you've got quite a display here, and we think of you guys for all of the different stuff that you do, but I want to start right off with, we got to remember, stuff for late models and sprint cars and off-roading.
We do quite a bit in the off-road, but we do all different types of vehicles, and we do a lot of in the industrial market as well.
Tell us about some of the items we have here, Bob.
Well, we do a wide range of sizes of rod ends for one. We can do something that's very small, like this is a part that we make for Disney, all the way up to a large size that we do for monster truck.
Now, I'm very familiar with Rod End Supply and why we're seeing this red here, but tell the folks at home, what makes this so special?
Well, this part, we developed a product that we call an injection molded race Nylofiber rod end. What this does, the body is made in one piece. We cut a groove inside the body. Once the ball is inserted, then we injection mold the red Nylofiber material around the ball. This acts as a carrier for lubricant, so you don't have to lubricate the rod end. It's a little different than a Teflon liner in the fact that it doesn't beat out or flatten out and then the ball gets loose. So these things are pretty well indestructible.
And by being able to use this too, we're keeping the dirt out and everything else.
Right. It does, they're self-sealing, and of course with the lubrication you don't have to lubricate them, so basically you kind of put them on and forget about them.
You have so many different parts here and a lot of different stuff and a lot of things that people may not think you have.
Yeah, like I said, we do get involved with a lot of different types of products, especially in the industrial market. This is an ag part that we make for a company up in Nebraska. This is a part that is actually going on a machine that would be used in the drink industry.
So not only from their vast catalog, you can select a lot of items, but if you have a company that maybe you need something made just for you, check out rodendsupply.com.
Well, I made my way by the ARP booth here at PRI, and I know all the quality fasteners they make for the funny car engines we have, but look at this beast. I don't know anything about it, but I ran into a guy that does, Van Hazley. Now, this is out of your pulling truck?
Yes, this is out of my pulling truck. In front of you today is a what we call a Cummins Super B. It started life as a 6.7 liter diesel engine out of a Dodge pickup truck. We've added 3 turbochargers, and now this little creature here in front of you will produce over 3,000 horsepower.
Well, you know, like you said, you added this, added that, you find the weakest link. ARP's been able to make all these fasteners for you to hold this thing together.
Yes, ARP has been wonderful to work with over the years. Every time we create something, we call ARP and we said, hey, we send them what we call Hazley Cam, a yellow piece of paper, and say, Chris, can you make this? And they've done a wonderful job, and every time they're just problem solvers for us.
Right, now what all fasteners we have? I mean, I can see them on the outside. I'm sure there's some internally as well.
Correct. Internally, we've got 14 millimeter main bolts. They built us a 1/2 inch 20 rod bolt. Underneath the valve cover, you know what you can see there is the head studs. They do rocker arm studs for us. They harmonic balancer fastener, flywheel fasteners, anything that we run into that the OEM fastener is not strong enough for us, ARP has accommodated us and they'll build us anything we want.
They don't only hold, but they look pretty good as well. I mean, this front of this engine looks pretty nice.
Oh yeah, they're pretty good at dressing things up too. I think they're into bling. I think that's a California thing, isn't it?
That's right. It's not only going to be very strong fastener, it's going to look very well as nice. I mean, it doesn't matter if you've got a top fuel nitro engine, the diesel pulling truck engine, the 4-cylinder turbo engine, pretty much anything, ARP makes a great quality fastener.
also, it's ARP is just a really good company to deal with. And like you mentioned, the clutch fasteners, we were running into a problem where we were golding some nuts on our pressure plate. And ARP, we contacted them. They already had them in stock. They had a nut that fit our application and fixed the problem. So they're just a fantastic company to deal with.
No matter what engine you have, ARP has the fastener for it.
You got a really nice ride, you want to put some really cool wheels on it. You know, you can get to a lot of money with your wheel and tire combos. And all of a sudden you realize, man, you got the wrong back spacing, you got it all messed up. You could have just visited Scott with the wheel fit.
Absolutely, Kathy. So the reason why I created the tool was exactly what you just talked about. You know, for 6 decades we've had the custom wheel industry, and we've always been struggling trying to get the biggest piece of rubber on the car possible by getting the correct offset and width. So the wheel fit, it solves that problem. So what we have here, we have our Pro 45 kit. It's our #1 seller. It fits all your common street rod and muscle car applications. It goes from 14 to 20 inches in diameter, 6.5 to 16 inches in width, and any backspace within the range of the tool. And the cool thing is it physically clamps to the tire, bolts to the hub of the vehicle, and so you can actually turn the tire lock to lock and rotate it 360 degrees, and you can physically see the tire hanging in 3-dimensional space on the vehicle.
And you're going to see exactly, you know, where you might have some issues, or hey, this is going to work right away. Now, what about for some of our other bolt patterns? Do you have some other kits?
Yeah, absolutely. So this fits your 5-lug, 5-on-5 bolt pattern and smaller, but then I have the other kit here that'll do your large bore 5 and 6 lug, and then you adjust your backspace and your offset by moving back and forth by loosening up this one knob right here.
And even for some of our big tires too, you've got some other kits. You've got a lot of different kits, I should say, available.
Absolutely. We've got the one right here that is our 8-lug application. Now this will fit all the old school 8-lug as well as all the new 2010 trucks that got the new metric bolt patterns.
All right, you pretty much just have everything covered. If someone wants to find out more about how they can get a kit or maybe some accessories, how can they get a hold of you?
They can log on to our website at thewheelfit.com, and it'll take them right to the website.
All right, and there you have it. And we have so much more here at PRI to check out. You just never know what we may find next.
This edition of Performance TV is being brought to you by Custom Auto Sound, the originator of classic car OEM fit radios since 1977. Steel Rubber, quality crafted rubber parts and weather stripping. AP Laser, leading the way. And by Dustless Blasting, it's the future of surface preparation.
Welcome back to Performance TV at the PRI show in Indianapolis. Welcome back to Performance TV. The PRI show has all forms of motorsports, including the Pikes Peak Hill Climb car. I've never seen one of these, so I got to ask you, Cody, you got to tell me about this car.
Yeah, this is a car that we built in my shop, Love Fab. It's taken me 2 years, just part-time because I have a day job, but the whole premise of Pikes Peak is extremely high downforce, extremely high grip. And it's taken some elaborate measures to be able to actually have the car perform and stay off the bump stops for that. So,
what kind of engines is this having?
This is your average truck motor. It's a GM-based LQ9. As of now, it's a stock bottom end, but the PRI show's been good to me, so we'll see what happens.
Right, and 1,000 pounds, you say, right around 1,000 pounds?
It's about 1,800 pounds.
1,800 pounds.
So, yeah, yep.
And downforce. You don't want to slide off that mountain.
Now, downforce, we're looking at, upwards of 8,000 pounds of downforce at sea level. But up there, you lose a lot of air resistance.
Well, this year will be the 100th anniversary of the Pikes Peak Hill Climb. So let's check in with Kathy. I think she has another race that has a big anniversary.
PRI show back here in Indianapolis, and when we think Indianapolis, we think racing and the Indianapolis 500. And coming up in 2016, the Indianapolis 500 is going to be celebrating 100 years, and the Hall of Fame Museum has this really cool evolution of IndyCar display.
This is the first time that we've ever brought cars from the museum here to this event, and we wanted to showcase what our museum has to offer and the variety of cars that we have. And with it being the 100th running of the Indianapolis 500-mile race in 2016, we wanted to show the evolution of the cars over the last 100 years. What we have displayed right here is our oldest car is a 1915 Sunbeam, and that's a car that ran in the Indy 500 and also ran road races throughout the United States and in Europe. And then we transition to a Cummins diesel that is the very first Indy car that went all 500 miles without making a pit stop. And then you'll notice when you take a closer look at the car, you've got 2 seats in there. So you've got your driver and your riding mechanic. And the riding mechanic was the driver's eyes and ears. He also, like let's say the driver, got a cramp in his arm, he would, massage it so that, especially if you're going to run all 500 miles without making a stop, you had to rely on your teammate to get around. The last car that we have is Sam Hornish's car, and that car, he won the IndyCar Series in 2001 and 2002. And that obviously shows how different you go from 1915 to early 2000s, and it just the progress that IndyCar and the technology is just 100 years. It's huge.
Well, if you have a high horsepower car or even a street car, you need some form of management. Well, we've stopped by Wolf EMS and with Robbie. Tell me about this. This is something a little new. I've never seen this.
Yeah, we are reasonably new. We've been around for 22 years in Australia, and we've got our American office now. What we've got is our V550, Wolf V550 unit, which can actually go from single cylinder to V8s sequentially. Can control transmissions and dashboards and things like that out of the one unit.
What about fuel injection and all the components? What will it control?
Okay, well, it's a very interesting question because it can control your injection, your ignition, idle speed up to a 6-wire idle speed, anything else that the customer really wishes to put on. Things like nitrous control, we can do pulse with nitrous control, boost control, pretty much anything that the customer really wants to throw at us.
Now, is there a different box, or does this all come out of the same box?
Look, it actually all comes out of the same box. If the customer is serious in racing and wants to start data logging EGTs or looking at ADA oxygen sensors, or even put an external data logger in beside the internal data logger, they can add it on, but pretty much everything is out of the one box.
And what I see a Racepack dash. A customer already has a system of some sort in their vehicle. They can incorporate yours into it and it'll work with it.
Yeah, the V550 and the V4X will incorporate into the Racepack dash. There's other dashboard manufacturers as well that we actually interface with, so we always say to the customer, if you've already got a dash, speak to us because we can interact with it.
And is it programmed by you, or can they play with it?
When the customer buys the system, they actually get a startup map, but they get all the software, data cables, everything to actually go online and program it. The one beautiful thing is that if for some reason they have to remove it from the vehicle from accident point of view or whatever, they can actually take that ECU out and put it into another vehicle, whether it be a GM, Ford, Holden, and not have to send it back to be upgraded or anything like that.
The versatility is incredible, and you use some OEM connectors. It'll adapt with all of it. They don't have to call you for everything. This thing will do it all. The Wolf EMS, if you got a car and you want the management of it, this thing is super simple, and it'll do everything.
After this break, we'll be back with more Performance TV at PRI in Indianapolis.
Performance TV coming to you from PRI in Indianapolis, Indiana.
The PRI show has grown over its 30 years to a massive show, and one of the people that's been to, well, most or all is Doug Algebright. You're a columnist for Speed Sport News. Tell me a little of the history of this.
You know, this was just one of those deals where somebody said, hey, you know what, a lot of people want to sell parts, let's help them do it. And this thing has gone from like a little corner of a meeting room to this thing that takes up the entire convention center. Pretty awesome growth.
We've seen it grow over the years. I remember Louisville and maybe Nashville and Cincinnati, Columbus, but it's grown and grown to a bigger and bigger facilities.
Yeah, it's really at home here, though. I mean, there's something about the Midwest. It had some great years in Orlando, and it's moved around, but I think once it landed in Indy, it was kind of a forever home because there's so many racers in a circle of this place. You know, people, this is an annual deal to come into Indy, spend a couple nights, PRI, it's just a great mix.
Well, you're not only a columnist for Speed Sport News, but you're also an author. You've written some books?
Yeah, I've 13. Just did my 13th here a couple weeks ago. I'm on the book tour now here in my own hometown. You know how it is, but it's a cool thing. This sport's really interesting and very diverse. It's been fun to be a part of it all these years.
Pick one up. It's a good read.
At PRI, it's not all about the high-performance parts, all the goodies we can get for our race cars, but it's about the tools that you can use to maintain them. And Kevin with Clamp Tight, actually not just race cars, but all kinds of stuff, even around the house.
Absolutely. But on cars, you can do it on custom cars to give your car a nice custom look by doing it yourself, by wrapping as many times as you want to, or on the racetrack, just do a quick fix so you can get back in the race. It's a better seal than a regular hose clamp. You get that solid 360-degree seal.
And it's a small tool, and it's very easy to use.
Absolutely. Here, let me show you how it works. All we're going to do is take stainless 304 041 safety wire, make a nice little loop. We're going to feed our ends through our loop just like this. Pull it tight. Run it through one more time so we actually get on both sides of the ridge of a fitting. Make sure not twisted anywhere. And we're going to take our tool, stick our nose in, wrap it around both sides, just like that. Twist it on. Make sure you're in the notch, and we start to tighten it up. It just makes a nice solid seal, and it won't corrode because I'm actually using a stainless safety wire, whereas a regular hose clamp always has that flat spot or will corrode. And once you're tight, you're just going to flip it over to lock it in. The tool backs right off. Going to cut it about 1/4 inch. Bend your tabs in, and that's going to be your clamp. It won't vibrate loose, it won't come off, so no matter what type of vehicle you're using, whether it's a race car or a custom hot rod, nice solid seal.
And I can see you can use it on many different types of hoses or pipe.
Absolutely. I mean, anything from a repair for a garden hose to CV boots to even racing silicone, the new racing silicone hoses, just a nice solid seal.
Now, Kevin, can you over-tighten this, or how many times should we turn this?
You can feel it as you're tightening it up. You'll feel the tension in it, but you really can't over-tighten it. It just depends on the hose, obviously, that you're using or what size wire.
What a neat innovation that you should probably have one or two around your shop.
If you're doing a restoration or upgrade on your car for the suspension, you want to replace the steering. You want to make it nice and tight. Well, I found the solution, Turn 1 Performance Steering System. And Junior, you guys got a solution to tighten up the steering and make it nice and new again.
Yeah, we offer a Saginaw 600 series box, which would be a direct replacement for the Saginaw 7 or 800 series boxes. They provide a good on-center feel, good all-around road feel, which gives you more feedback through the front tires, make it great for autocrossing and just driving around the street. My base model boxes start with a 12-to-1 ratio. I got everything from a 6-to-1 ratio all the way up to a 20-to-1 ratio. So anywhere in between I can accommodate you.
Now, what models of car do you have? You have something a little for everything?
As long as it came with the Saginaw 700 series box, this will bolt directly in place, minus a couple little changes, but it'll be a direct bolt-in replacement for the most part.
And what if a customer has their own, they want to send it to you to rebuild? Can you do that as well?
Yeah, I can rebuild the Saginaw 7 and 800 series boxes, depending on the rack and pinion. If you're using a rack and pinion, I can rebuild those as well at a reasonable price.
Now, you also have the pump to go with them as well.
Yeah, depending on what you've got, I've got application-specific power steering pumps for most of all the LS lines. I've got universal mount pumps to bolt into any application. I've got, like a LS F-body pump for the 98-02 Camaro, Corvette, GTO, all that. So all my pumps are designed to reduce horsepower consumption and reduce fluid temperature. So they're great for street or track use, and they're going to live longer than just your stock pump.
Right, it's not only going to make it steer better, it's going to take the slack out of that old steering. Yes, it's also going to make it perform better.
Yes, yeah, the performance is second to none. If you replace your power steering pump in your gear, it'll be the last system you ever buy.
You want to make your ride steer nice, Turn 1.
We've seen just a little of what there is here at PRI. We'll have so much more next here on Performance TV.
This edition of Performance TV is being brought to you by Borla, the world's most winning exhaust. Extreme Polymers, experience extreme performance. Wizards Products, make it shine. And by Z-Dog, forged in quality, made in the USA.
Well, one of the new vendors at PRI this year is Clark Gear Company. They've been known for their aerospace gears, but have decided to move into the automotive side of things. I'm with Lee. What made your decision to come to PRI?
Well, having been an advertiser in print with Industrial Machine Digest for several years, we visited their booth at Westech in Los Angeles last spring. And in talking with their publisher, we found out that he was going to be at PRI, and at that point decided it's time for us to let the racing industry know our capabilities.
Well, tell me about Clark Gear Products and their company philosophy.
Well, Clark Gear's been in the same location for 62 years with a passion for manufacturing. We manufacture complete gears of any type of material, from splines, serrations, spline shafts, ground gears, sprockets, electrodes, keyways, for many applications, for aerospace, for automotive, for marine, or for any commercial applications that really require precision motion.
Well, you guys are new to the PRI show. What does it gain for your company, for you and your company?
Coming to the PRI show has really given us a full perspective of the racing industry and what we can provide as far as providing aerospace-grade gears for the racing industry. And it's really given us a renewed sense of confidence.
How about you, Juan?
Oh, I think the racing industry is just so friendly. Everybody out here is just great, and it's nice to see where the industry is going and where our company fits into that.
Well, are you going to be back at PRI and show everybody your gears next year?
Yes, and we've got an assortment here, and we know next year we've learned some lessons from this year, and as a result of the great service through the PRI staff, through the Indiana Convention Center, we decided to hold a reception today for any of the visitors, and we'd like to do that again next year. And anyone who wants to see our gears can either see them on our website or visit us in person in North Hollywood, California. We're only a few miles from Universal Studios, and we're open for guests any time of the day.
You're going to hear a lot more in the automotive world from Clark Gear Company.
You know, we find all kinds of very interesting things, but it's not just flat-out race cars. It's hearses. No, wait a minute. This is a race car. This is the world's fastest hearse, a 1996 Chevrolet Caprice, 370 cubic inches, 1,300 horse, running 25 pounds of boost. 954, folks, in the quarter mile. That's right, 146 miles an hour. But here's the kicker. Yeah, it's a big car. 5,700 pounds. Even has the coffin in the back and a cage. I was wondering how they got that all in there. Why people do stuff like this? Because it's cool and because they can, and they can do it fast. Tommy, you think you can top that?
Kathy, I'm more of a Mopar guy myself. I spotted this 70 Challenger here, and I'm going to tell you what, this is a beautiful car. On the outside, it looks all stock. You know, a little sleeper. On the inside, it's got the nice interior. Looks stock, but nice custom gauges. But it's under the hood I really like. The Hemi. Of course it's a Hemi, but that's not your ordinary Hemi. That is a really big, powerful Hemi. With a little tube suspension, this thing's got it all. It's a sleeper, looks great on the outside.
Man, we've run out of time this week for Performance TV, but there is so much more to show you, and we'll have that coming up next time around here on Performance TV.